Oh, hello. We're just arguing, everyone. Now, we were going to do an ad for a thing, but it's a long story. Bianca, what have you been doing?
You know, every week you ask me this, and every week I don't have an answer, and I just defer back to you.
You blank out?
I blank out every time.
I put mine on the list.
Well, I'm gonna start doing that then.
Yeah, because it's on the list. It says tennis Neal. Now, Neal, what does that mean?
Neal, elaborate.
It means that when Neal has gone to Thailand for his vacation, his holiday, Christmas, New Year's.
Tennis Neal is so funny.
Elaborate. I don't spend money, but on New Year's and Christmas, I'll really blow her out, and I'll blast off and go to Asia and really pop it off. And at one of the places I go to called Trisara, Trisara,
This is a resort
or
a town.
Insane prices for this fucking insane. Like where you're like, fuck you. They have a tennis court and lessons. And I take lessons. And I don't show it here much. Kind of athletic. People wouldn't believe it. But every tennis coach I've had, and they're not, woman talking about penis. They actually have all said that I have 5 brothers, so we had to play sports. So I play tennis, and I decided to take a tennis lesson this past Saturday. And I liked it, and I really like forehand. Yes, Santa Monica, California, Lincoln, and Wilshire. If you want to come watch next week, I have a nice forehand. Like most people, I have a nice forehand, and my backhand looks like a. You hate to say retarded person. You hate to say. By the way, this is a separate thing that I should have put on the list, and I forgot. I was talking to a friend of mine, and she was saying that friends of hers, her super woke friends, flag her whenever she says crazy or insane, because that's the next round.
No, I won't give up crazy.
Well,
I won't. It's hard enough. The R word is very hard.
I know.
That was a hard one.
I know. I'm still riding with it.
I mean, me too, off air.
But...
So you have a good
So you
backhand.
Can't say crazy and you can't say insane, which is a whole other issue.
Yeah.
It's because it's disrespectful to people with mental illness.
But they don't want to be crazy either.
Bianca, crazy is not a fucking what's it called?
Yeah.
An appraisal. It's not a diagnosis. It's an adjective for. It's a lot of these are just diagnoses from the 50s.
Right. They're like
retarded was just a diagnosis. Crazy diagnosis. Like, hysterical was the diagnosis for women, which I think we should maybe bring back.
Like, bring it back. Wait, tell me more about this backhand, Neal.
Well, Bianca, with forehand, the key with tennis that I didn't know was you watch pros and they just looks like bang.
Do you do the scream?
No.
Ugh.
I'll tell one of my famous Serena stories after this.
Okay.
You have to wait till the ball's right in front of you, and then I was doing it way early. I was doing it like, and you just end up doing moonshots. You wait till it's thing, and you put your left foot forward. Another thing I did not know. Okay. Left foot forward, so it's way more like baseball or some shit, or golf. Yeah. And then backhand, it's 2 hands, which right there is a problem. I do an interlock, which I didn't tell the teacher, but that stays here. It stays on the podcast. And then it's more mechanical, like.
Wait, I thought you're backhanding it.
I am. This is backhand. The ball's coming this way, and I boosh.
No, I meant like this. Like.
What do you think this is?
Well, I don't know. Backhand.
It's backhand.
I don't know.
It's backhand.
I'm getting confused.
You're getting our.
I'm
over here.
I'm scared.
So my left hand is it looks like your right hand. Yeah. So if you hit a forehand, it would be to my backhand. If you hit a backhand, it'd be to my forehand. Anyhow, honey, let's not get hysterical. Shout out to the hysteric. That was enjoyable, and I had to scold 2 different groups of people. One of them was the people who were charging $75 a ticket for my show and then adding a $7 ticket fee to each ticket and then charging $30 for a chicken sandwich and then adding a fee to that. A chicken sandwich fee. It was like, what are you doing? And the guy's like, well, that's what we don't have to be Ticketmaster.
Right.
We know they were evil. And then everyone's like, well, it's different dude, a cartel is a cartel.
Right. The reason why they make that shit is the reason why you're doing it, to make as much money as possible. They're not doing it. There's not a difference between a small group selling tickets and Ticketmaster if you're just charging a fuck ton of money and a service fee. I mean, what is really a service fee?
Nothing. It's like, so what I always want to say to banks is going, so let me get this straight. So you guys have installed ATMs all across the world and they're all computerized. And yet you're going to charge me a fee to deal with a computer. But if I deal with a human being who has to sleep and poop and all that other shit, that's free.
Right.
But the computer, so you guys would be losing money on these things. You're probably, these computers must cost you $40,000 a year based on what you're charging me. My thing is, Bianca, what I've always thought, and then I have to wedge in this Serena story, because I still haven't told it.
I'm waiting.
And it's a B- tops. I have some money. I don't want to gouge the people that like me.
Yeah.
I just don't want to gouge the people. David Spade actually wrote on my Instagram thing, if you want to get gouged, come to my show. Because he doesn't
really
care.
Funny. He doesn't give a fuck.
He doesn't care. He just doesn't. I don't know. I just feel like, and he has way more money than me. But I don't know. I think he grew up single mom. I think it's people get shit in them that's like, I need all the money I can get.
Right.
Like, good people are like, no, give me the money.
Yeah, but then I remember when Louis would come to the store, he would always sell tickets through his website, no service fee.
No service fee, yes.
But he would have people come through and count that shit.
Yeah.
He's like, no, I'm not making a ton of money here, so there's not going to be
He was making sure that people weren't being shysty.
Oh, yeah, or just, okay, like squeezing in a bunch of people. It was like, no.
Because comedy club, I've been doing comedy clubs, and one of the waitresses whispered to me, they added seats. Like, during,
really
like, between shows. Like, they added seats. You should just have 4 more seats. And
Snitch. Don't go to the store. They'd be adding everything.
Yeah. So, Louis was, I actually thought of that an hour ago, how moral Louis was when it came to tickets. And again, he had some lapses in other areas. Serena Williams one time told me, Bianca, that she would make noises. She makes more noises when she's losing. Wow. Yeah, which is just funny. She's like, when I'm losing, I make noises, which is fun. I don't know. There's just something funny about that. And if that's a story, don't leak it. It's not a story. She didn't scold anybody. And I scolded the guys who did all the curtains. And
why?
Because it took them 2 months.
Yeah.
And the guy would, it's Adam Carolla had a show called To Catch a Contractor.
Oh my God, that's
which I heard, and I was like, "That's the greatest idea I've ever heard." It was on some rinky-dink network and never went anywhere. But these guys are above the law.
Yeah. Oh, I watch Judge Judy. I'm an avid Judy watcher, and the amount of construction workers that just didn't finish the job, and guess what? They're entitled to the money they got. Not they.
Why?
Let's say they got half. So usually you pay half and then they spread out the payments. So by the end of it, then you get the final payment. If you've only gotten paid for half and they only did half the work, they get to keep the money. For some reason, it feels rude.
It feels rude. It should be against the law.
No, it's not, because they did work.
But they didn't do all the work.
Well, they didn't get paid all the money. It's so fucked up.
Oh, okay. I wasn't listening correctly. So they don't get all the they didn't get the full amount.
They don't get the full amount. They get paid, but still, it's like if you leave a job unfinished, fuck you. You shouldn't be able to get any money.
Yeah, the guy it took fucking. He would go, "Hey, you owe me this," and I'd be like, I literally emailed him one point. I go, "Where do you get these numbers from?" And then somehow when he'd go over them, he'd take $400 off.
Every time.
Yes, twice. because he knew I was like, wait, what? So I finally, the guys, and I told you this off the air last week, that I could tell all the guys who, when they go, I got to go to get a part, because they didn't know what the fuck they were doing to begin with.
Yeah.
So they would go, I got to go. Meanwhile, every one of the guys had never done it, had never done the thing. He had the track for the curtains.
Yeah.
They had it in 3 pieces. So they weren't lining up and the thing would catch. And I could hear the guy the other day going like, shit. It was making me laugh so hard because he was like,
Neal.
shit. And it was like, oh, this is not good.
Neal's on Angie's list. Like, excuse me.
Well, by the way, I'm not gonna say what list I got these guys on,
I
but a
remember.
lot of times
It was
these guys go on those lists to go off the list.
Yeah.
To go, hey, we don't gotta go through. Huh?
Yeah.
Well, it's like gentlemen. Now I realize I have no recourse.
No.
What am I gonna do?
Yeah. What? Refund? No one's gonna refund you.
I don't even want to refund it. I just said to him, I was like, dude, the problem is every guy you sent had never done it before. Everything. It would have been better off if I'd done it.
What
They did this.
What's
they
the
did
resolution?
over there? Judge Judy, there is no resolution. You're
an idiot.
It got done, but by the way, you're not gonna believe this. I left a bunch of trash.
Oh.
Which is another big one.
Yeah. No. I mean, when I renovated my condo, they're like, we don't have all the fixtures. I'm like, oh, okay. So they stopped working on it for a month. And then a month later, I'm like, hey, can you finish? Like, we're almost done. I was like, yeah. Oh, I realized we don't have all the fixtures. And I lost my mind. I was like, you didn't have the fixtures a month ago. Go get the fixtures. I don't care where you find them. Go get them. It took you a month to get. This is handles on like shaker cabinets. I was very upset.
Well, they think they're just bad liars,
They're
and
really
they're used
bad
to people. The people are very intimidated by construction people.
Oh yeah, and they're like,
especially when you're like a half a cuck like I am, where you're like, I've never held a tool. You get
swindled.
Yeah, they'll just do anything. You're like, oh, okay, sorry guys.
I mean,
would you mind?
I got $2,000 refunded because of that. I was like, I'm
out of how many?
Oh, out of a lot. But they did the work. But I was just like, you let my apartment sit there for a month for handles.
Yeah.
Put on the handles you have. They're missing 3, and then they did no work for the 3. And they could just fuck you if you're not paying attention. Essentially,
I think because I'm a single guy, I'm kind of like,
yeah.
Bianca. Moving on. Did you see the debates?
Did I? Did you see what the only takeaway people got
The
from
Fly?
the debates?
I mean, well, that's the whole point. The sadness of American politics is, and I'd say America because it's the only place I've ever lived, but because I don't think people anywhere else would be like, this is too important to pay attention to a fly.
The funny thing is, I've lived outside the country. I don't know if I've mentioned it ever on this podcast. Most places don't have a 2-party system. Most places have
so they don't have 2-on-2
No,
debates.
most places have like 4-party, 5 parties system. So it's not it's more specific per faction.
Sounds freaky. Go ahead.
But it does break up the division,
Yeah.
So it's not just like us versus them.
Yeah.
Culturally, it's really.
The Fly, I truly didn't even see The Fly.
First of all, I called The Fly. I just want to say in the previous episode, I said
somebody said that.
Oh, they did.
Somebody somewhere I saw that.
Well,
on a blog
I don't think
something.
people. No, you be on the blog.
Something.
So I don't think people remember this. If I made memes, I would have made a meme. But The Fly showed up on the 2016 debates. It landed on Hillary.
Oh, well, I was going to, yes.
And now
I was going to
like,
tweet or say something like, hey, if you're going to say that like a fly landing on Pence is, just so we're clear, is as dumb as when they used to say like, Obama smells like sulfur. Like,
who said that?
Alex Jones said it.
What?
He smells the beast. And it's
so
it's like
funny.
saying people get mad when like evangelical will go, there's a tornado because of the queers.
Yeah. The gay rain, gay thunder.
And it's like, that's as dumb as saying there was a rainbow because of Kobe. It's all dumb. It's not.
Kobe.
No, I know. Leave Kobe, and it was 8/40, 24.
Neal,
8,
do you not believe in coincidences?
And then Kobe came down, and that was the name of It's all. If I believe in them, then Billy Graham or whoever has as much validity as the Kobe people.
Right.
Or and they passed the law, and I looked to my left, and what do you know? A sheep. Sorry.
It's okay. No, well, it's similar. Like when it's Kobe, you're like, yeah, Kobe.
Yeah,
but
you
then,
know what? Yeah.
When I was in Mexico City, I went to where the Virgen de Guadalupe, the lady, Our Lady Virgin, and then I found out what the deal was with her. It's a little far-fetched.
A religious story.
It's like
far-fetched. You mean to tell me?
It was like, so you picked some roses and then an angel appeared on your apron?
Yeah, it's all dumb. It's things on toast.
Things on Jesus.
Yeah, or tortillas,
So
or
funny.
just it's
like clouds in the sky.
pitiful.
Yeah,
It's just pitiful.
Pitiful.
No,
What?
you can't say that they're dumb and you're smart when your symbolism works. None of it works. I've decreed it. None of the systems work. The other takeaway from I was just watching it. I had the thought that Pence and Trump are really good debaters if you don't know anything. You have to not know anything, but man, are those guys good. You have to just strictly not know any information.
Right.
But Pence is a fucking soldier.
Yeah.
He's dour and he's pious.
He does sound like he works for NPR.
And I'll tell you what, he was a radio guy for like a decade.
He has a good voice.
Of course he does. That's what I'm saying. They're good debaters.
Yeah.
If you didn't know everything they said was a lie, you'd be like, these guys. That's
They're
why
great,
everyone's
solid.
Like, it was a runaway. I was like, no, it wasn't. It wasn't a runaway. By the way, they went on CNN afterward, and 10 people how many people think there was a clear winner? 8 people raised their hands. How many thought it was Kamala? 4. How many thought it was Pence? 4. It's just everyone just like, no. That's why I was saying when it was like Trump lost. Yes, fine, but Biden didn't win.
Yeah.
And same with Kamala and all that
I do love I'm speaking.
There's a nice letter about you for that.
Okay.
But all the shit that liberals she is the queen of side eye, and she is. Guys,
so
why are you fucking? It's not gonna pick voters off in Western Pennsylvania, Ohio, where it's still tied. I remember Dave always going like, "Man, Ohio's the bellwether of the country." I was like, "Why would you brag about a fucking state that you happen to be in?"
You don't like any bragging.
I don't like
area.
I like bragging about a thing that you did. Not like, my town has the highest rate of I don't give a shit. If you did it, great. But if it's a cloud, go fuck yourself. It's not going to help it's not going to make sassy isn't worth 1.3 votes.
Right.
You just need to persuade people where they are, which liberals can't even fathom how someone could be conservative.
Yeah.
They can't even have we talked about this on the podcast? I said it already. Have we talked about it? Yeah, they can't. It's like you can't imagine why someone would be anti-abortion or want lower taxes or want to close the border. You can't imagine it?
Yeah.
The fuck are you talking about? It's not that hard to imagine.
No, especially if you leave your liberal bubble. Mm-hmm. It's really, I feel like people in Austin get it more, but LA, New York.
Yeah.
Even though there's a lot of conservative people in New York, they're not that conservative.
They're also nowhere where you want to be. Folks, they're...
Wait, no, you don't like Albany?
They're yes, and they're not even in Manhattan. They're in the Bronx and Queens.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, they can't. I had a good moment of vindication, which is as sweet a moment as I can get.
Come on.
If you got a personality like mine. Woman I know who was a volunteer for Bernie, and now she's volunteering for Biden. And I said, like, so now that you're doing this, she's doing like, canvassing and all that stuff. I said, now that you're for Biden, what do you think of Bernie? And she's like, the more I deal with like centrists and conservatives, Bernie had no fucking chance.
No.
Like no fucking chance.
But do you think he had a chance in 2016? I feel like it was like so weird. I feel like a Bernie versus Trump would have been more plausible then.
No, I think he would have lost the popular, and I think he would have just lost everything. He wouldn't have won the popular or the electoral college. My friend Vanessa was like, yeah, it's like you're asking people for like a transformation. Yeah. And it's too big a thing.
I told you when I did that march at the Oakland Port Authority and the black and brown longshoremen that were like BLM. And
what
then
was his name? I love that joke, guys. I love a joke about stereotypes.
And then a trans fluid sort of person. I don't know. They were there.
If you don't know,
I don't know.
The longshoremen definitely don't know.
They identified as something else than they look. Yes. And the longshoremen were losing on a microphone. He was like, "All right, brother, speak." And he was like, "You just assume my agenda." And he was like, "I'm sorry to the sister for calling her a brother." He had no idea what was going on. He was so confused. And I personally believe that he will stay confused forever. He's an old black guy that worked at the Port Authority.
They don't even know what you're talking about.
He really looked at a person that had a beard and to him looked like a man.
Like that guy uses a computer sometimes, but he doesn't really know what the fuck is happening. He doesn't believe that it went to the email went. He doesn't.
Something happened.
I know something happened, and then the next time I talked to him, he said he had gotten that. Like there's no. It's like Sebastian's joke about his dad setting up the computer and using the mouse as a foot pedal. Like that's absolutely right. I thought of another Sebastian story while you were saying this. This story doesn't. John Legend had a party 8 years ago or something. That's the whole story. John Legend had a party 8 years ago, and Sebastian's friends with John and Chrissy. And so at the end of the party, it's just me, Sebastian, John, and Chrissy, and this like young black kid, right? And I look over at Sebastian talking to the young black kid, and it's just the five of us in their house. And Sebastian goes, I mean, how do you get a name like Frank Ocean? How'd you even get that name? And just trying to explain the name Frank Ocean to Sebastian, because Frank didn't have any albums out. He just was called Frank Ocean and had a demo. And trying to explain that's what that guy at the Port Authority was going like, what Frank? What do you got? I mean, how do you? So you're born Frank Ocean?
Ocean?
I mean, what a name this guy's got.
I mean, when I just the look, because everyone's like, "How dare you!" in the crowd, and when he was like, "I'm sorry to the sister for calling him a brother," I was like, let's just go get.
You're never the only way you're gonna get that. It's meeting them where they are and trying to appeal to the things you have in common. You're not gonna shame them with side eye and.
But shouldn't we do it like McDonald's commercials? You know, McDonald's commercials, it's always, they have a black one, they have a white one, they have an Asian one, depending on the markets, because all the markets are different. I feel like politics should kind of be, because we can all agree we want the same things, but we don't want them marketed to us the same.
I was talking to a guy. I said something about this the other day on Twitter, and somebody said, something about he works in solar energy. And I wrote back to him, I go, you would sell more panels if you were dirty all the time.
Yeah.
Like an oil person.
Hire all the coal workers?
Yes. They just think it's
like some
Americans
pansy
think
bullshit.
that one type of energy is
American.
homosexual and European, and one is heterosexual and American. And it's because one is dirty.
Yeah.
One is gritty and dirty, and you get covered in dust and oil, and you got to use a special soap. And one is
soap.
yes,
you got to use the orange soap.
and one is just some shit on your roof that guy installs once.
Right.
But it's because it looks queer. No other word for it. They won't. They're like, I don't like that.
Yeah.
I don't trust that. Meanwhile, there are so many more jobs in clean energy now than in coal or fracking. Like the growth is all in renewable, but people are like, nah. You're gonna tell me what job what's a good job, and what's not. It's like, hey, what you can do is you'll get just as dirty. Cool.
But that's the thing. It's like, one, none of those jobs are nice jobs
They're
for people
all
to do.
horrible jobs.
And that's the weirdest thing. It's like, come on, have foresight. Especially clean energy can be expensive, so we can actually manufacture it in America. It doesn't have to be outsourced somewhere. Like they can.
That's not even the issue anymore.
Most manufacturing is.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean that you can invest in this industry, and you have like some sort of longevity, like career longevity, because it's not really.
Right.
It's like so specific. It's like anybody can get some coal out the ground. We don't need it to be American. Well, that's a whole other
issue, which is the job that takes the least qualifications, they expect the most stability in.
That is so
and it's like, but it
true.
Speaks to their level of self-pity. It's the cop thing. It's a level of self-pity.
Yeah, it's
like well, you're going to tell me what's it, one of the guys said a thing that you're going to tell me what's a good job and what's not a good job.
Yeah.
Yes, that job fucking stinks, buddy. And I say this from a place of decency. I don't call me crazy. I don't want you to take a tiny train a mile deep into a hole.
Yeah.
I know that's crazy. When you could basically just be laying tile in the desert.
Yeah.
And we'll get you shade. Here's the bad news. You're not going to get black lung. Are you mad? You're not going to get black lung. You're still upset. I love my uncle got black. Yeah, it's just these dumb fucking loyalty to these jobs that are fucking awful jobs. Awful jobs.
It's weird. We have this, I guess, in the heartland. There's this, my dad did it and his dad did it, this lineage thing. I also feel like Americans don't have a lot to hang on to in terms of history. So for them, it's like, that's what my family does.
It's the conservative thing. It's in the title. They're conservative. They just don't change anything. Just how things are now. I feel safe. I'm fine. We're going to conserve it. And progressives want to make progress. And conservatives are like, no. No. No blacks. I don't want a black president. I don't want a black vice president. I don't want to.
It's like that joke you do when you're like, no one does drugs and gets more conservative.
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, I was thinking of Dave's joke about coal, where he does he's absolutely, for the uninitiated, he is doing Yosemite Sam to the vocal tick.
Right.
You could lay their fucking
the vocal
things next to each other. I noticed, I go in 1993, I said, Dave, I go, you're fucking Bugs Bunny. And he didn't even know what I was talking about. I was like, you're fucking Bugs Bunny. He's doing Yosemite. The whole Warner Brothers library has implanted itself on it. He then says, he sells himself as Bugs Bunny. I want the streets to know that was my observation.
That was
from
Neal.
1993.
That was all Neal.
Poor, had a bob. I didn't have a lot going on.
You did have a bob.
I had a bob, a Kurt Co bob.
Moving on.
Trump is home, y'all.
Finally.
Trump home. These weeks are so long. It's
so much has happened.
You can't podcast enough, guys. We need all these podcasts. We need a fucking.
God
We
damn
need
it.
70,000 new podcasts a day. I'm sure there's some stat. He's just such a giant moron. And again, if you didn't know anything, you would go, this guy's fucking
Convincing.
smart and brave.
Why are we freaking
and
out?
Ballsy. But you have to. They're running against their opponent is reality. That's who they're running against. So the longer they can just be like, huh?
No,
the problem
this
is
isn't-
some of the reality got into their bubble. For
got
lack of
in.
better. Yes. I mean, there's a million metaphors about COVID.
I know.
Bianca, no one knows better than you about COVID metaphors.
Come on, guys. It's me. Classic Binky.
uh,
No, it's so funny. It's so fun. No one wants anybody to die, but it was eerie. It was eerie. It just felt like a meme came to life, and the consequences were the president could die.
Yeah.
It was just creepy feeling. Just like, God.
Did he?
Didn't you
Was
think-
all those videos were this? Jesus Christ! It seems so long ago.
I know.
Where these
He's been cured in a week.
he
Was that a week? Yeah, it was like.
he came home last Monday, I believe. And
No.
today's Monday. He came home last Monday.
Wait, I know. I thought he's only had it for 10 days.
He's only I mean that he's
That's
only
a fucking lie.
tested. Publicly acknowledged being tested 10 days ago.
Also, everybody who had to speak about his health just seemed like they were being held hostage.
Is he?
I mean, HIPAA.
Yeah.
HIPAA.
You guys know. You guys know better than anybody. I tell you. I'd love to stand here and tell you. You guys know I'm a straight shooter. You guys know that. I have a doctorate in medicine and honesty. They don't. Somebody said this a long time ago, and it's just so true that he ruins everything he touches. Every single person that comes in contact with him who isn't his family is, well, first of all, like a dozen of them are in jail just in the last 4 years.
Yeah.
And everyone else Lindsey Graham, all these, he just makes people's fucking lives worse.
Yeah.
And if you don't go to jail, you're greatly reduced.
You're fucked. The reputation is
Reputationally, you've got a skull fracture.
the like
A
indent.
reputational skull fracture where it's like, it's the indent. Well, there's going to be some sweet photos right there.
And you have to pretend like, no, I'm good. I'm fine.
Yeah,
it looks
what?
weird, but I'm
fine.
You don't need.
Yeah.
We
By the
use all our
way,
brain.
separate side issue. There's an app. It's an app called Figure One. Go on the App Store. Figure One, not an ad. It's basically medical pictures and diagnoses, and it ranges from heart to like foot injury to just from.
How gross are the pictures?
Some are quite
Quite.
colons. But if you're into it,
So wait, what is this for? To diagnose yourself or to just
medical
look?
cases, just random medical cases that doctors and nurses and people will post as like, this is interesting.
Oh, this isn't for you to get clarity on what's ailing you.
No,
this is just
fucking rubbernecking.
Oh, I love a good rubberneck.
Yeah, I thought you might.
Oh yeah, because I watch Monster Inside Me, Infected.
See at Figure One.
Something's killing me.
See on there.
Okay.
Yes, everything. It's a reputational skull fracture, and I don't think. I'm not gonna say none of them are gonna recover, but I intend to boo these people in person. Now, I did fuck up because at the Twain Prize.
Yeah, you should have said something like, and fuck Trump.
No. There was a thing the next night at some restaurant.
Yeah.
If you can believe Dave had an event.
Yeah.
You were gone.
I was gone. Were you there?
Yeah, I just went. We were
Oh,
eating.
did you go to the university
high
or
school
the
thing,
high
yeah.
school? Okay.
But Kellyanne Conway came in. And I wish
Why?
I'd yelled. I wish I'd booed. Because it's like a hot restaurant.
Dude.
She didn't come in for the party.
Oh, okay. There's so many Trump aides there at the night. I was just like, DC's weird.
Yeah,
It's almost like the
corrupt.
politics
It's
are
beyond
fake.
corrupt. It's corrupt. It's so corrupt you can't believe it. It's
No.
people that don't have any. About a dozen people have actual integrity and would go like, no, I don't care if I get penalized for believing this. I'm gonna do the thing that's most politically advantageous to me, moment to moment.
Yeah.
And that's you and I think we're talking about. Somebody was talking about how Trump faked COVID. It's like he can't think more than 8 seconds in front of him.
I'm just starting to realize that it works really well, at least where we live, when Trump supporters, they're idiots. How could they believe these things? QAnon, that's ridiculous. And then you meet friends that are like, he's faking it. And I'm like, no, what the fuck? No, he's not faking it. Like, think about it.
I had to yell at Trayvon and Roy about it.
Friends.
Yeah.
Our friends.
Smart guys.
Why are we losing touch with a good, sensible connection to, like presumed reality? Like, of course, that's probably not the case. Like, what it feels like that isn't going on in people anymore. People don't have this thing in their head where they question that
because they
sounds
think
far-fetched.
it's a sign of intelligence. We talked about this. I'm realizing we talked about this last week.
We talk about all the time.
I'm so lost in what week it is and what's happened.
But people we know that don't have a void for being intellectuals or having something over somebody. Trayvon and Roy seem like sound dudes.
Yep. Writer for The Daily Show and correspondent for The Daily Show.
Yeah. What would make someone like them think that?
Because they want to think that it's... And even, by the way, the shit that I posted the thing about us not believing, and they were like... And the things that they proposed were like MK Ultra, and which was like a CIA thing, and Iran Contra.
That's
and
all
those
real.
are good. Yeah, those, and I was like, these are good.
Yeah.
But people on the streets didn't know about them, is my point. It was never like,
right.
so-and-so, and then you go, oh, yeah, it turns out you're right. It's just nothing's happening. And the film goes, oh, there was a thing, I was in MK Ultra. Is it called? I feel
MK Ultra.
Yeah, MK Ultra. And it turns out it's this thing that we were doing. Yeah, I have so many... There's so much news that there was a thing, when you go, when they used to do, like, when they built the Brooklyn Bridge, people would get the bends.
Yeah, because they were doing it.
It's also called Caisson's disease.
Why?
That's what, I guess the guy who discovered it is Caisson. I don't know. Okay. But I have K-Pod's disease.
Which is?
You just heard, you don't know what, it's 2020, you're doing a podcast, weekly podcast. There's so much happening that you don't even know what the fuck's happening. Well, you know what we're doing.
That was a good one. K-Pods.
Yeah, but Donald Trump is bad.
Okay.
And but he home.
He home.
You just again, they're running against reality, and every once in a while reality breaks through. And I love
that Biden's like, I'm not doing a debate with you.
That's not exactly what happened.
They just couldn't decide on virtual.
Trump wouldn't do it virtually.
Right. No, I mean in person.
Because he literally said, he goes, I'm not going to not do it virtually. I'm not going to do it virtually when they can cut me off whenever they want. It's like, okay, good.
Also, virtually, I think, like what you're saying, feels more cuck, homosexual,
well,
pansy.
it's a fake.
Oh,
it's
no,
a fake. It's a fruity. It's
safe.
Person to person is heterosexual.
Virtual's like,
I'm on a camera. I don't know. It's a little newfangled. Some about it seems like it has sex with other men.
Moving on.
Will you explain the Armenian genocide
2.0? So it's basically, Turkey and Armenia, we understand that happened. That was a while ago. And then
108 years ago or something?
Yeah. 2000, like 1903 or some shit.
Yeah.
So in Azerbaijan.
Around a little bit after my grandmother was born. That's how old I am. Go ahead.
That's so long ago.
1897.
Oh, yeah, we talked about this.
Talked about this, yeah. You got K-Pods. It's fine.
And then, it's basically Azerbaijan versus Armenia. And Turkey is siding with Azerbaijan because of just, I think historically and culturally, they're just buds. So in the north of Azerbaijan or the south, I don't remember. There's a lot of, it's mostly ethnic Armenians that live there. And they're being persecuted and killed. And I think since there's just tens of thousands of them have died.
Did someone say we're going to finish the job? Did I see that somewhere?
Ooh, that's rude.
I feel like I saw that.
Finish the job? Who said that?
Maybe I'm confusing it with the Lakers.
Oh, no. Wait, don't do that.
Yeah, right there. Right there.
What's that now?
There should be, by the way, if you make an app, do a thing where it's a warning that it's behind a paywall.
Just go up to the top.
They're trying to finish. People are distraught thinking they're trying to finish the job. Eastern U.S. Central Committee on the Armenian Revolutionary Federation. Too long a title.
Iran?
No, Armenian. Yeah, they're trying to finish the job from whatever.
Yeah, no. So it's Azerbaijan, Turkey versus. I can't. I've read a few articles. The names, so many ZK.
No, they got too many. It's hard to. I think there's an old joke that somebody did in the 80s, which is Iran and Iraq are fighting so much because they keep getting each other's mail.
Stupid ass.
And I feel like this is. It's also really fucking subtle.
What's subtle?
As a American, I go Armenia and Azerbaijan.
Yeah, it starts
how different. Guys, come on. Yeah, no, for real. Like, remember when Bush said that it was like he sort of said it jokingly, like that Saddam Hussein tried to kill his dad.
Yeah,
and everyone was like, "What are you talking about?" In that part of the country, that's grounds for war for 200 years.
Right.
But we're just from the West. We're like, what do you do? It's an old thing. So 110 years ago.
Right.
What do you, why do you, who remembers it? But they want acknowledgement. Armenians have been fighting for this forever.
Right. And there's still a lot of, I think, Armenians in Turkey that, it's just a lot of border shit. It's a lot of, it's also
Erdogan proxy war in Armenia, ugly echo of Turkey's genocidal campaign.
So they're backed by Turkey,
right?
So it's just basically like
it's much like a Trump scandal. There's a layer of complexity that I'm like that makes me as a reader lose interest.
Yeah.
Honestly, then I'm like, what?
Right?
Come on, guys. Erdogan, if you attack him, then I'm mad. But if you pay for Armenia to do it or fucking Azerbaijan, the only thing I know about Azerbaijan is how to say it. No, the only thing I know about Azerbaijan is from the Formula One show. They do a Formula One event there, and I couldn't believe that they were a big enough country. They had buildings and shit there. They have real skyscrapers. They have 40-story buildings made of glass and steel, not stones.
Now,
this is congratulations, Azerbaijan.
Now, I don't want to be totally controversial because it's not connected. But when I was doing the protests,
which ones?
So I was in Pan Pacific Park, which is where the protest started, accidentally.
This is a park that goes from America to Japan. The Pan Pacific Park. Go ahead.
And that's where the protest was, and I got caught in it. But I'm like, yeah, sure, protest, 100%. Like, I think it's fucked up how Armenians are treated. They're also all over. There's a lot of Armenians in Iran, but we're nice to our Armenians. I don't know what's wrong with the rest of the world. So, what I don't get is why a lot of immigrant communities in America are not pro-BLM. They're not pro-Black Lives Matter at all.
No.
At the Pan Pacific Park, when I was there, an Armenian guy asked me, what is BLM? And I was like, oh, where are you from? He's like, I'm Armenian. I was like, oh, what do you mean? What is BLM? He's like, what does it stand for? And I was like, Black Lives Matter. And he goes, I was like, get away from me.
Yeah.
And he's like, Black Lives Matter? Okay. And then I walked away. I was standing outside of Erewhon. My friend comes back. I'm like, that was so fucking rude, but it wasn't rude at all. He just did this and walked away. But
That's pretty rude.
Yeah, but you could feel some old guys. It's like,
Yeah,
what
it's
is he?
Sebastian Frank Ocean. It's a classic Frank
just
Ocean
like,
Sebastian.
Good luck with all that, you know?
Yeah.
But when you look at the Armenian genocide and the 2.0 version, all it is just unjust persecution against like a larger population with more power, at least, going against a more unprotected, underrepresented population. And they're so passionate about it. Even before the thing in Azerbaijan, which has only been going on for the last few decades, they've still talked about like getting justice for the genocide in the early 1900s. I don't understand. Why wouldn't you be for all injustice?
Oh, I'm sorry. Will, let me take this. Because people are giant hypocrites and only care about their issue and don't see any crossover, don't even know what you're talking about. But this was Armenians being slaughtered. So, yeah, but these are black people being slaughtered for like 400 years. Yeah, but these were Armenians for a couple years.
Imagine if we were like, well, what were the Armenians wearing? Part of town they live in. What car were they driving?
Yes.
And it's not fair to link this because I don't know how many Armenians think this. That was just my one example in the same spot where there was the Armenian protest, but it felt, I don't know. I can't understand why all immigrant communities, they didn't leave their home country because it was great. No one wants to leave their home. So why? It was frustrating.
Well, they were being persecuted. I get them leaving, but
no,
why?
That's fine. Why, if you left
do you
and
care
you understood
so much about Armenians?
Just
why aren't
saying,
you over there?
Why aren't people more like? Why is BLM more? Is it more supported by immigrants? That bothers me.
Isn't it? Because they're fucking racist and they don't have black people in Armenia.
True that.
They have like Nigerians or Kenyans. There's always like,
they're always everywhere.
Do not trust the do not trust the Nigerian. Nigerian guys come around. They wear a lot of they wear purple jeans.
They do wear purple jeans.
And they have a lot of gold. I don't think it's real. Yeah, they don't. They'll find it. It's like in Japan, it's like that. And in fucking Bangkok, it's just you go to these Hong Kong. It's like, and I don't know why there's Nigerians or Kenyans at these places.
They're everywhere.
Kanye West. You know about Kanye West? Have we spoken about him on the show? He's a rapper.
He's on my ballot.
He's a rapper. Is he? I haven't opened my ballot yet.
Dude, he's a VP of someone.
Now I'm afraid that your ballot's fucked up, and now we're gonna. This is gonna be I almost want to cut this out.
Why?
Because I don't think he's a VP.
He's a VP to a guy, some conservative guy. Yeah, watch. He's a vice president to some fucking
Roque
de la Fuente.
That's the guy from Rage Against the Machine.
How dare you?
Roque de la Fuente.
No, it's only in California.
Okay.
He's a VP to this like.
Funnily enough, neither one of them knew they were going to run alongside each other. In fact, Kanye allegedly did not actually know or give consent for his name. Oh, that's cool. All right, that checks out.
I didn't know someone could accidentally, because I read that.
Roque de la Fuente has some good songs with Run the Jewels.
Rocky? Wait, they put his nickname?
Rocky de la Fuente. First of all, he sounds like he would be the Yeezy creative director.
Yeah, he does.
Rocky de la Fuente Guerra. Or Guerra. You got me, you fucking Spanish-speaking motherfuckers.
Guerra. Why are there nicknames? Spike?
Because it's a fun election.
Who's Jeremy Cohen? Yes, Jewish people showing up.
Joe Jorgensen.
Joe Jorgensen.
This is Joe Jorgensen.
Who is that?
I don't. Kanye released a video today. For his play it because I don't think we'll get fragged.
What is America's destiny? What is best for our nation, our people? What is just?
It's the Watch the Throne flag behind him.
Together as a people, to contemplate our future, to live up to our dream, we must have vision. We as a people
he brought
will revive
music
our
video
nation's commitment to faith,
production
to, what our
to
Constitution calls the
to
free
a
exercise of religion,
political
including,
campaign
of
conversion of
course,
the problem.
prayer. Through prayer, faith can be restored. We as a people
First of all,
are
pause it.
called to a greater
That looked like Freddie Gibbs, the
It
rapper.
looked like Freddie Gibbs.
It
looked like
Kanye's
Freddie.
reading, which is like
That's not Freddie.
dog. That's the guy who looks
That's
like Freddie
Freddie.
Gibbs. I don't think that's actually him.
No, it's not Freddie. Wait.
He looks like Freddie Gibbs. It looks like Freddie Gibbs and Michael.
Yeah.
Michael. Michael.
He'd never
the
be
guy from
cut
The
in
Wire.
that outfit.
Kanye's got heroic. Put your fucking music under it, you ding dong.
This is terrible music.
You have the fucking best music in the world. Put it underneath, and of course, he's
Death
got
Star?
Yeah, someone pointed out that looks like a Death Star.
Wait, so what is he saying in all this?
He's basically saying we're gonna bring America back through prayer. But he's also reading, which is like, dog, don't read or memorize it, or do one of your classic rants.
The rant would get more traction than
Of
this.
course. Take a bunch of no-dos and fucking go for a rant. Cut off go on a medication fast for a little bit, and then go from there. Keep playing. You should not. I'm Neil Brennan, and I don't approve this message.
Write in.
Should have had his own music, and should have just should have gone off the dome. And I bet Jay-Z's like, why are you using the Watch the Throne black and white flag? And also don't run for president, and drop the Yeezy Gap line. Give me shirts. Give me uniform level shirts.
I know, it reminds me of, remember those? This is a bad version of "And I'm a Mormon." Remember those? There's a campaign on YouTube they were trying to give Mormonism a better name, so they showed like black people
Good luck
and Asians.
with your nice people. And
they were so nice.
No, I've never met a shitty Mormon.
Yeah, even though they didn't allow black people until the 80s.
I said what I said. No, that's what I'm saying. Like, it was 78 that black people weren't people. Whatever. It's like a few years after the rest of America. It's a few years after they let black people vote safely.
Really,
it's 13 years later.
Wasn't that far later. Give them a break. But yeah, and I'm a Mormon. They were way more engaging videos. That was
and
bad.
Ironically, they used Kanye's music underneath on the Mormon videos. So Kanye, stop it. Kanye, you're the greatest, but please stop it.
Please stop.
Just make clothes and music, and maybe remember when he was making houses?
Aren't we telling him?
That's
to
actually
shut up?
one of his houses in that space shot. That was one of his Kanye houses.
Go to space.
The space things that he had the homeless people in out in fucking wherever the fuck he is.
Aren't we telling him to shut up and dribble though? Kind of.
No, I already let him fucking make clothes.
You let him.
Like, how many things are you? I don't.
Right.
Anyone can
so
run for
much.
anything. Just you can't be bipolar. That's my only caveat.
Untreated or straight up?
No, untreated. I'd love for a treated person. Treated bipolar, please.
Treated.
It's not shut up and dribble. He doesn't understand politics.
Yeah.
He's just famous. That's his whole platform. So yes, there have to be qualifications for jobs. I'm sorry, there just have to be. I know it's mean.
Neal is
I know it's mean
stickler.
and rude and divisive and reductive, but you gotta know how to do what job you're trying to get. Now, speaking of jobs we're trying to get, today's Columbus Day, right?
It's Indigenous People Day. Why are we celebrating Columbus?
It's Indigelumbus Day, right? It's Indigelumbus Day, which we should call for a decade just to ease people into it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've spoken about this on our award-winning podcast.
Okay.
I'm for turning on everybody.
Yeah.
But Columbus Listen to me.
Okay, sorry.
Somebody had to we're all you no somebody had to in order for this country to be somebody had to explore and find it. Whether you want to go with Amerigo Vespucci or whoever really did it or whatever, we're all wearing fur coats going like, that was fucked up that Columbus robbed that bank. It's like, you're fucking living in the country, dude. So how you don't seem that upset about this guy who stole land, and then you in response to him stealing land, you gave the victims casinos and a few reservations. Yeah. I'm not saying I'm for Columbus. I'm just saying I'm against hypocrisy. No, I'm just saying like, you're against Columbus, are you? Even the people, if Native Americans are against him, all day. Fucking all day. But
you mean white people shouldn't be?
Any Puerto Rican, anybody who came here,
goddamn Puerto Ricans.
If Native Americans want to be against him, all day. Like I said, black people, all day. Anyone who wasn't robbed or kidnapped to be in America needs to shush it, because you're living off of his crime. You're literally getting the fucking you're getting the feet. You're getting the VIG, as they call it.
So anyone who wasn't kidnapped or Heather Lance genocided or anything to be in this country, they should be thankful.
No. I'm not saying thankful. I'm just saying don't be. I see your hypocrisy.
Well, what if they agree that it's fucked up? It's not.
What are they doing about it?
Well, just because you weren't enslaved or killed, your people weren't enslaved or killed, doesn't mean you can't be, like, understand that it's fucked up.
I agree, but I'm not saying honor the guy.
No, I know.
I'm just saying, like, I'm going to fight for every one of those statues. No, I'm just saying, like, just acknowledge what a fucking hypocrite you are, that you're doing exactly nothing to help Native American 100%. People or indigenous people. And fighting for it to be renamed indigenous people, as indigenous people are getting fucking reamed by COVID and fucking decimated by alcoholism and drug addiction.
You don't like a consolation prize.
I don't like the appearance of. I don't like surface things. That's the thing with the statues. Like, I don't want it. I want to get to the nougat of justice, and the nougat of justice is not Indigelumbus or Columbidigenous Day. It's fucking. I mean, it's impossible without a time machine, because the reason Native Americans have such a bad drug and alcohol addiction is because their ancestors got decimated. So there's no solution, but calling it Indigenous Peoples Day is as close to nothing as you can do and still not change anything.
Yeah.
It's bullshit.
Yeah. It's just like, it's your
You know what we're going to do? We got you a cake, honey. Yeah, no, we'll bring it to the reservation that you live on. You know that shitty...
Where no one wants to live ever?
Yes. You know that shitty, basically, a public park that you live in?
This is your park, girl. Good luck getting water and electricity.
Yeah.
So I went to when I was at the Pan Pacific Park, trying to fight a bunch of Armenians to get to a
Frank Ocean.
I marched a little with them, but going somewhere. There was a comedy show, and there was a funny. This guy had a funny bit. His name is Rob Hayes. He's a comic, black dude. Writer.
Yeah, I know the name.
He's funny. And he was saying how he's like, the Confederacy was only around for 5 years. And the Migos have been around for 7. So I don't know why we don't have that. And when you put it like that, it's like, oh, that's weird. We really have only had, the Confederacy wasn't this long-standing American, established thing.
It also wasn't even a thing.
It wasn't
a thing now. But it's like... The Crips are a better.
They've been around longer.
Like they were like, we're not this, we're that. Like, no, you're still this, and we're gonna kill you until you say we're still that.
Yeah.
Until you say we are part of America.
Yeah, it's true. It's not a real thing to get by. It was just
they tried
temporary.
to move out of their parents' house by going on the roof. And it's like, no, fucking get back in your room. You still live in this house. No, I don't. It's a sovereign.
Roof is mine.
Yeah, so that's my thing with Columbus. Now, speaking of hypocrisy, our friend Bill Burr got in fake trouble.
He got in fake trouble?
For his Saturday Night Live monologue in which he...
what? I missed the
monologue. So Bill talked about white women in less than flattering terms, and by that he means...
What did he say?
He just said, how did you hijack the woke movement?
True. Just like they hijacked the Me Too movement.
Right.
That's legitimate.
I was hoping he'd say, yes, black men are being murdered indiscriminately, but a comedian texted me 10 years ago. I was hoping for that punchline. Didn't show up.
Did he?
I didn't know he didn't. I didn't pitch it to him, and he didn't. If you pitch Burr a bit, it's guaranteed he'll never do it.
Oh, he's like, no,
guaranteed,
no,
absolutely
don't
guaranteed.
You dare
it's a promise he will not do it. He's fucking
petty
constitutional. No, he's just constitutionally defensive.
No, I just love it. Just like, no, I don't need your goodbye.
Yeah, I guess I could. I don't know.
I guess
so he went after white women by saying it's basically the same point Dave made, which is white women getting upset. And it's the thing I'm saying about Columbus is Dave's joke was you were in on the heist, you just don't like your cut. You fucking white women did just as much bad as as white men.
100%.
They when he got home they fucked him.
Yeah,
so,
they turned and they're the witness for the prosecution.
Yes.
They're just like,
yes. So now they're like, oh, I didn't know. I didn't want to.
Can I get a plea deal?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So, a friend of the show who I think will come on one of these weeks.
Yay.
Silent executive producer who's never even heard the show. Always says in a slave uprising, the first person they kill is the wife. First person they kill. Yeah. I can't prove it. I think he probably has 2 examples, but like that's how it goes. It's like, this thing of like, I didn't, lady, you fucking live in the big house.
Yeah, what'd you think was going on?
Yeah. Like Burr did a version on his other special, which is like, you're in the jacuzzi with us.
Right.
So that's how I feel about
and then what happened? What was
they were just upset that how dare he go out. It's like, he's proving your point. We have problems too. Not really. Yeah. Not compared to everyone else.
What's your joke? White women are coming in second place in a race.
In a 500-person race, they're mad that they're in second. Like, what? This is rigged. Lady, you're on the stand.
It's rigged, but it's really fucking rigged for everyone else.
It's relatively not rigged for you. But is it as fair to you as it is to white men? No, but not by much. It's not by much.
Not when we talk about all the other riggings that are going on.
Yes.
You're good.
Yes, and a white woman.
You're getting shouldered out of.
By your husband.
Like an opportunity.
Yeah, have it by your husband. By a guy, your brother, your dad, your husband, whoever. Like it stays in the white family is my point. But Burr got in fake trouble. There was Twitter kerfuffle. Speaking of Twitter kerfuffle, your friend.
No.
I got into Twitter karate.
What happened?
I sent it to you. I thought. So good. One about.
It didn't seem like a long thing though.
It was stupid. I said Kellyanne Conway's daughter, who's 15,
was a kerfuffle.
Should have a OnlyFans for White House intelligence. Okay.
Well, in retrospect, should have said Patreon or
if I say Patreon, it's not a joke.
Okay, but what about? Is there a way?
No, trust me. I did the calculation. I'm a comedy writer. I went through all of the.
I know. I'm just.
I went through all of the possibilities, and OnlyFans is the funniest one. It's the newest one. It's the jokey one. It's TikTok to Instagram. If I'm gonna make a joke, I'll be like, "What are you fucking TikTok over here?" That's the joke. If I go Instagram over here, 8-year-old app. OnlyFans, and I did look up, doesn't just have porn. So I knew I was covered, right?
What do they have? Feet?
No, it truly was for fans of like, hey, everybody, it's your boy. Like it was
like a cameo, monthly cameo thing.
Yes. And
then they changed the font all sexy.
Then they tried, everybody tried to fucking attack me and the whole thing. And the people were like, this is wrong. And
how many people did you lose?
I gained 300 people.
Hilarious.
So the idea that these people know the idea that these people know about right and wrong and comedy and then a comedy writer DM'd me and he was on some like, so you really can't say, I'm like, you could, if you wanted to turn this into, because it actually apparently did turn into a QAnon thing. The thing that people don't realize is,
wait, what?
You can just mute these people. You just
they were like,
they tied me to QAnon, I think.
Like now you're
I think. I don't know.
So weird.
I know.
He doesn't even eat pizza, y'all.
Y'all, I don't think Comet Pizza has vegan pizza. Although, who knows? And so, but I just muted it, and then people it was like, I don't see any of it. But people come. It was just so embarrassing. And
wait, what was embarrassing?
It's people lecturing me about what's good comedy and what's right and what's wrong, and it's like, you don't know what you are talking. It's exactly what I said last week, which is I'm an expert on this shit. Like you were here when Seth called about sketches, and I don't know if you could hear the conversation. Someone who doesn't understand sketches wouldn't even know what we're talking about. Like just like the level of this person. It
was actually really nice to hear two very like prolific comedy people talk about particular sketches.
Yeah.
And even though I could totally keep up, it was just nice to see you two talking about it. It was
me and Seth Meyers talking about sketches from Saturday Night Live, appraising the sketches and going like,
and be like, I like this, but I didn't like that. And I was like, cool.
Because we can parse it out.
Right.
It's the thing I said about listening to Carmelo Anthony talk about basketball and on JJ Redick's podcast. You truly go, I don't know what I'm talking about. I have no idea what I'm talking about.
Yes. The thing is, let's take you guys as an example. Nobody's writing anyone off as, that was a bad sketch.
No.
It was like, I didn't like that. That part was good. When he did this one line, that was very good. This didn't work in XYZ, blah, blah, blah. So people aren't really listening. They hear one thing.
Yes, I had the thought.
Makes them feel, I didn't like that. And then we wipe the whole thing clean. Bad. There's no value in what you're saying.
Right. It's the difference between when people go, that's not funny or that's wrong. The wrong thing to write on Twitter would have been Claudia Conway, I think her name is, should have an OnlyFans. That's the child pornography version of that tweet.
Or sell her.
And whatever. Only just the same tweet, just without the punchline, which is for White House Intel. So I know what the gross illegal version is. I have no interest in doing it because I don't believe it, and it's gross and not funny and like exploitive and all this shit.
Okay, but as a comedy person, as a writer and a stand-up, that, sometimes you know better than the audience, and you know that some jokes, even though it's a good joke, and I know this about you, if it doesn't work 2 or 3 times, you don't fucking do it because it doesn't land. So it doesn't mean it's not a great joke, but if you hear a daughter that's underage and OnlyFans and people make an association and don't like it, what's the difference between you saying that at the store and no one laughing? You're not going to do it again. Maybe you'll do it one more time. And then
guess what? I'm not going to tweet that again either.
No, but then why not just be like, that one didn't work? Why be like, you're all idiots?
No, because it did work. There were 20 comedy writers that liked it.
Yeah.
There were 2,000 retweets.
Hilarious.
There were 2,000 retweets. There was like, it had get big numbers across the board. A lot of comments, a lot of retweets, a lot of likes.
A lot of
love.
So
you didn't like it, but they think if they don't like it, it's not funny. or it's wrong. And it's like, you're saying...
Yeah, there has to be some sort of justice about it.
You're saying that I'm a cook or a chef, and you're saying, not only do I not like this dish, it is food poisoning. And I'm telling you, it's not food poisoning. It's too spicy for you and not to your palate.
Salty,
but you don't know what you're talking. And that's what the fight became about that for me, which is you don't know what you're talking about. And people hate when you say that. People think it's arrogant. And it's like, I've been a comedy writer for 25 years. I know a bunch of shit about it.
Yeah.
And I understand the levers. And even now I feel immodest. But I'll be modest unless someone goes, you don't like shut the fuck up. Right. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Right.
I had a living metaphor come to life, which was it was ice cream day last week, and I'm in line, and people behind me were saying stuff about ice cream that was so dumb.
Oh, wow, Neal.
Somebody at one point, I didn't, and somebody at one point goes, vanilla is awesome. That's how great.
Ew,
like
whack,
just the dumbest. Just
no,
first
not.
of all, that's not vanilla is awesome.
No, it isn't.
It's the building block of ice cream civilization. Without vanilla, we got nothing. Okay, and you can. I'd way rather eat plain vanilla than plain chocolate. That's my palate. Yours is not food poisoning. It's a disagreement.
Yeah.
But they were so basic and dumb that I just thought, well, this is the people I'm arguing with on Twitter, and they just got low IQs. So why am I wasting my time? The only people I did waste my time on is saying like, no, I'm an astronaut and you're telling me about space and you don't know what you're talking about. But people resent it so much that you say, no, I'm an expert on a thing that you think you're an expert on, but you're not.
Right, but then when you think about it, isn't comedy truly subjective?
No.
You think there are these just like foundational
everyone's
things
got the same top 20 comedians. It's like, it's subjective but you're not going to tell me that it's like, no, everybody's got this fucking Pryor, Dave, Chris, Joan Rivers.
Well, how many times do you make a bad joke? So you don't think any of your...
I don't think I ever have. No, I accept a bad joke is just
I'm just trying to go through it. I'm not
no, it's
like,
just a dud. I know
joke.
a bad joke. I know like where the weight of it. Like, right. I know a bad joke is like, that wasn't a bad joke. There's jokes that I've made that are just like, but they're not immoral. You know what I mean? It's like that joke I made on here about the gymnastics girls it'd be like if Michael Jordan won 6 championships and Phil Jackson stuck his finger to his butt.
Did anybody have a problem with it?
No.
Okay.
Because I asked Michaela Maroney about it beforehand. But it was a dud. I tried it on stage 4 times. Dud.
Yeah, you know what? It needs more explanation. Because when you explain it to me more, I'm like, oh, yeah.
I know, but it's
because
like
we don't.
up.
But it's also because we don't. That one doesn't work because, at least for an audience member, because we don't think of how hard it doesn't work because we can't even fathom how fucked up it is. They won championships and we're getting molested.
I mean, I've had the
like,
shit
what?
that like
What do you
people
mean?
like the level of comedy. I one time pitched a joke to Chris Rock, and he goes, 3 too many words. Like, you don't know, like, you just don't, like, no one can do that.
Yeah, no.
Fucking nobody can do that. But there are certain people that, like, just the level of understanding is, like, very high level of understanding. So when people start telling me, it's like, buddy. And then somebody else said, like, oh, so you're saying that comedians are on the same plane as rocket scientists? And I wrote to somebody, I go, no,
that's not it at all.
No, there's way more rocket scientists than great comedians. There's like thousands of rocket scientists. In the world, there's probably 30,000 rocket scientists. I don't even know what that means, but probably 30,000. And in the world, again, the thing that people don't like to think about, 140 great comedians.
There's not 30,000 of them.
That's what I'm saying. Like, but like, fuck you.
Right.
I know, buddy.
But who had that joke? I hate quoting and not knowing, but they were talking about how on YouTube. Beethoven has
that was mine.
That was yours.
Yeah. I've been fighting this same. By the way, it's the clip which we should get to, the Comedy Store documentary, where I said I play this game online.
Well,
where
let's get to it.
Let's get to it.
Doc Watch.
That's so funny.
Very funny. The Comedy Store documentary. Did you watch?
When it's a place you've worked at for so long and it's like schlep work, I'm not there fulfilling my dreams.
You wouldn't know it by how good you are at it. Go ahead.
Please don't. I'm very good at my job. I know. I also never signed anything to say like you could film me. I went out of my way. I don't know. I know there's some like waitress.
I didn't see you.
Good. Will you let me know if you do? Because there are some waiter moments in the back, and they always had a camera, and I was just like, "Fuck off!" Like I don't want to be in this thing, because that would be the biggest thing I've ever done is be a background waitress.
You may know her
Special
from that one scene.
How'd you like it?
I liked it. Mike Binder, the director, has been involving me in the edit a little bit. Bijan edited an episode.
Yay, Bijan.
So I got to yell at Binder every few weeks.
Must feel good.
Which was great. It was perfect for me. So I got to yell at Binder, and so I probably watched it 4 times this week.
Wait, how many episodes are there?
There's only 1 this week. I watched the same one.
No, there's 2 now.
No, yeah, as of last night, yeah.
Oh, okay.
But I watched.
And you watched them
watched
over and
the
over?
same.
Why?
Because if I like something, I like it.
So you like it?
Yeah, I like it a lot. I think it's great. But it also like came along. It like I was able to say, not like it was me who did it, but I'm saying like I was able to say, hey, you need to show how big Jimmy Walker was. And then he did he would like address some of the things I said. So I have to watch it multiple times as a show of gratitude, as a show of respect. Like, no,
that was my.
Yeah, but not even in a, just like, I like, that's not why I like it. I like it because I like the world. I still don't think in a weird way that it captures culturally how the clip he used of me was me saying there's not a building in America that's had a bigger impact on culture, which you go, that couldn't be true. And then you think about it, go, name a building.
Yeah, a building.
A building. And I'm not talking about like the White House or Congress or whatever. I'm talking about
like pop culture.
A building. It's 30 Rock is the only one that you could say just because SNL, Fallon, Seth.
Yeah, all those.
Of course,
things.
they shot Rosie O'Donnell's talk show there. Huge. You could say that, but it's also a weird thing, and it's almost too big to cover. It's a 1 room, 2 rooms, where Richard Pryor and Anthony Jeselnik both blossomed, or Richard Pryor and Sebastian, or Richard Pryor and Joe Rogan, or Richard Pryor and Eliza or Whitney or whoever. Yeah, D'Elia. It's not like, the Troubadour is like that.
Yeah.
Troubadour had one kind of music. Pryor is basically like hip hop, or if you want to include rock or Dave or whomever else, like if you just go, they do hip hop comedy, or Def Comedy Jam. That was like the center of Def Comedy Jam. Like I went there when they were I saw Tupac there.
Yeah.
So
everybody talks like the old waitresses will be like, Tupac was a great tipper.
Yeah. Like he was there a lot.
Yeah.
So that's the part that you kind of can't. It's not like, it's like the Lakers. No. Because
like everyone fucked with this
2
one
rooms, and
it's 3, but
right, but Belly. I don't count the Belly room because they're not doing real shit. It's all bringers up there.
It really
no, but I'm saying it's 2 rooms that And The Room has an influence on Pryor and Jim Carrey and Jay Leno and David Letterman.
Whoopi.
And Whoopi Goldberg developed her show in the Belly Room.
Yeah.
Like
that one woman show, that famous one?
Which I didn't know that.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, like where you're like, whoa. And Whoopi says there's a thing that like ties us all together. She's like, people around the world that are regulars that did time at the store. And to the earlier point about rocket scientists, probably 350 paid regulars. Which when you think about it, you're like, that's it? 100 probably dead. 500.
Let's say
it's not
500.
a lot. Yeah, it's not a lot.
Oh yeah, the with all the when you see the photos on the wall, I'm like, a lot of broken dreams, like a lot of.
We're not going to focus on that.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I know. I was like, that's all I think. They're all
a
lot of them are dead, but no, it's true. There's not that many.
Yes, there's it's rarefied or it's whatever you want to talk about, but it's also so Pryor develops Live on the Sunset Strip there or Live in Concert there, and Letterman develops how to be a host. And Robin develops his voice. Whoopi develops her voice, and then also now. So there's not a music venue that had Otis Redding and Maroon 5.
Right. And
There's
they both
like
developed.
That's the thing. It's like
there.
These are not famous people.
Right.
And it's almost too big a concept to cover.
Yeah,
because I tried to Binder used me talking about, and I still didn't. Later on, I was like, "Fuck! I should have mentioned this person."
Right.
In Living Color, I should have mentioned Martin Lawrence. That was Martin's home club.
Yeah, he still comes.
Yeah, but I'm saying like he got his HBO half-hour deal at the store.
Yeah, they would say when during Mitzi's funeral, it was really interesting to hear all these people come up and talk, and they were like, you could kill in the main room on a Friday, you'd be on, I don't know, Johnny Carson. Maybe
yeah,
that's
they cover that. They do that. You could get Carson, but that's one show in one period.
That's like, yeah, okay.
I'm talking about the length of it.
I'm just saying
that's
how
the creepy.
important.
That's like it's not even creepy. It's
a
too
bit
big a concept for. It's like where they say one person's a story and 10,000 people is a statistic. That's almost in terms of like how they sold the famine in Ethiopia. That was like the observation. Like we can't just show everybody. We just have to show like one starving child.
Right. At
the store, there's so many people that like you can't. It's like it's so crazy.
Yeah, it's weird. One time we were talking to somebody, and they're like, "Oh yeah, like one of the old waitresses, maybe Eleanor." She was like, "Jim Carrey was just a door guy, and he married a waitress."
Yeah.
And I was like, looked at all the door guys. I'm like, "No,
I know,
God!" But it wasn't anything. There wasn't some extra magic behind it.
No,
it was the same thing we're doing, the same. It's the dynamic at the store. The nice thing is, it feels like it has not changed. That's tons of comics sitting around. It's really the one place I love, and it feels so old school, where you really just have conversations. Everyone has.
Yeah.
That's how you pass the time. Yeah, of course, people do it 15, 20 minutes, whatever.
Right.
And we're schlepping drinks, and people have actual jobs, but everybody, whether you're working or you're just there to shoot the shit or hanging out, so you could maybe become a door guy at some point, everyone's just sitting and having conversations.
Mm-hmm.
And that like type of symposium, it's so encouraged there, and that exchanging of just, I don't know, it's not, you don't really see that anywhere else.
There's also the thing that is very hard to cover in a documentary. Jimmy Walker talks about it. So Jimmy Walker needed writers. He just wasn't a good joke writer. Mm-hmm. So and his writers at one point were Letterman, Leno, and Byron Allen.
Oh my God.
Okay, so that's $500 million, $500 million, and $1 billion. Literally. And I was saying to Binder, like, dude, huge. He owns the Weather Channel now. He did stand up once at 17, got a job, and now So it's not. It's the and Letterman made the analogy. It's like AAA baseball, and then and it's like that's not quite it either, because those guys. Letterman had Tom Dreesen, George Miller, and Jimmy Walker on his show like twice a year. When he had like in the 2000s,
right?
Like when they weren't hot,
when they weren't hot at all. And
no one else wanted him. He was like the thing that it's very hard to cover, which is the friendship, which is Jimmy Walker hiring these guys, and they cut to a clip of him saying, "I'm at the job getting plateau of my career where I can get people jobs," and the tension that develops there, because Letterman used to get Leno jobs on Letterman. He would have Leno on the show all the time. And would let him not let him murder. He would fucking murder.
He would murder.
It was a launching pad to then get the Tonight Show. And that's the shit that's really, that's like, to me, the tension of a place like this. Because it's like AAA baseball, except that the guy that you play with can become the head of the league in 2 years.
Right.
So it's not even a calculation, I don't think, but it is really emotional.
It's really emotional, and everyone is so in the same industry, and it's such a small industry that like you don't know who's gonna be. But it is really cliquey too. I'm surprised there isn't more understanding of. I feel like comics are generally cool with each other.
Yeah.
But behind the scenes, talk a lot of shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you just have to accept
that.
I mean, it's not in the doc, but it was in the book I'm Dying Up Here. And I actually did a part of the doc with Leno where I interviewed Leno. And so there's the portion of the show of the doc where they're watching people on the Tonight Show. Like everyone would watch everybody, right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. Like this sweet thing. And Leno had one of the first VCRs that he said was like the size of a microwave. So and funny. Like you'd have to like pull the fuck, and he would go, "Hey, you want to go watch so-and-so bomb?" Like there was that part of it where it is very supportive. I don't think Jay's fucking cutthroat or anything. It's just naturally the only thing I want to see someone do more than kill is fucking bomb.
100%.
It's fucking the fun part. Like I know all the shit people are going to talk about. All the people whose cliques I'm not in. It's like I know what they're going to say. Have at it. Yeah. Knock yourself out. But the emotional. Maybe the things I'm talking about are too big for a documentary.
Yeah, no, it's hard to really like, for example, when Johnny Witherspoon died, JD.
Yeah, like
posted,
Johnny. People in showbiz called him John, but Letterman and those guys call him Johnny. And everyone called Pryor Richie.
Yeah. And it's like this friendship. I don't know. It's hard to capture how sweet and deep running these friendship go. But at the same time, some are like obsolete, just like dead. Like, yeah, I used to know him. So it's weird to know where people lie. You know, some can have these friendships that are long lasting, and then some could make it big and just like
Shandling, another guy that's just like
I can't believe it.
Base. He's just hasn't been in it yet.
Is he? He's gonna be though, right?
I think so. I can't remember. I'm assuming these guys. It's not like the Blue Note. It's not because they can help. You help the person below you because you don't think they're below you.
Yeah.
You're
equal.
9:15. I'm 9:30. Yeah. Like I don't fucking. It's not, showbiz may go, so-and-so's way beyond you. And you're like, you don't know what you're talking about. Right. So you think so-and-so's better than me, but they're not. And it's like what Dave did with me. It's like people go like, what? And then he's like, no, I'm telling you.
Well, that's the thing. The nice thing I think about comics and comedy and at least the vibe at comedy clubs is a comic will see someone be really fucking talented and be like, he's talented.
Yep.
It's not like acting where, well, I'm the one booking it. It doesn't really matter that you're a better actor than me. Go to a fucking acting school and be the man.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. I'm booking. I have some je ne sais quoi that I'm booking above you. And I'm more successful by those like criteria. Whereas a comic, if they see someone funny, That person is funny to them forever. And they are always betting when you're going to pop.
That's the funny thing about the doc is the amount of, remember that joke you used to do?
Yeah.
Michael Keaton, by the way, which people didn't know was a comic.
I know that. I knew that. I always forget. But
Michael Keaton has a Bazooka Joe joke that is so fucking
Does he
great.
say it on the doc?
No, they just cut to it.
Oh, cool.
Saget sets it up. And it's so great you can't. By the way, there might be a clip of this podcast in a later episode.
Oh,
just so
that's
you know.
fine.
So I hope you did sign something.
No, I'm fine.
But Saget
Put me in
sets
the
up Keaton, and Keaton remembers Binder's jokes, and Binder remembers Letterman's jokes, and that's the thing of like we're all kind of slaves in the hull of the ship, and then we're like, oh, that guy was a good rower,
Right.
And then he goes, hey, I'm come up to the next deck,
Right.
and then you're in the deck, and a lot of times it's them vouching for you.
Yeah.
Which is, I don't know if it's just hard to, I didn't even think about it till I was watching like the fourth time.
But what is the thing that's hard to what?
It's hard to capture that. It's hard to capture.
It's really hard to capture.
It's hard to capture because I think Binder probably felt like the Letterman-Leno thing was so done to death.
Yeah. Did they concentrate on the drama of it all?
No, they didn't even cover the talk show.
Are they cool?
I don't know.
Does it matter?
I think at this point they're probably, it's not like a Cold War. It's just nothing.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't think they talk, but I don't think they're mad.
I didn't know that they were such good friends. I didn't know they were.
Binder does cut
younger
back
for
and
some
forth from Letterman saying like, I don't think I ever saw Jay bomb. To Leno going like, I used to watch Letterman and be like, your jokes are so fucking good.
Oh.
And it's really sweet. There's shit like that that's really sweet.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, there is something nice about in the comedy world where you just, as long as you give credit or be like, fuck, who said this? But
Yeah.
I love the quoting. We do it sometimes on here, but like
we done it like 5 times this episode.
But I just like that part of it just feels like such camaraderie.
Yeah, there's the camaraderie that you can't
really capture.
It is partially, it's like you're both in a beauty pageant, but you're also both rowing in a slave ship. So it's like it's a bunch of different things. You do appreciate but at the same time it's a little competition, but it's never direct. There's never a contest.
It's never direct, but there is competition. It's just on this really specific level because I've been around actors who it's so blatant and weird sometimes. Yeah. And writers are pretty cool. They don't seem competitive with anyone. They're like, hopefully it gets picked up, you know? Whereas comedians have...
You captured the writing spirit pretty nicely there.
I went to a comedy. I went to an
May
AFI.
I have one slice of pussy, please?
What's that joke? The Polish girl comes to Hollywood.
Yeah, Polish girl fucked the writer.
Okay, so Neal Star, seal of approval.
Yeah, it's great. Watch it. It's Showtime, Hulu, whatever. Whoever
Excuse me,
does your
A
stuff.
Life on Our Planet. Is that a nature doc?
Yeah, it's Richard.
And you watched it?
Right. Well, because there's
me?
a whole... Keith might bark us in.
Okay.
Just be warned.
Thank you.
There's a whole thing with how we're fucking the planet. So
I
it's
try to show you
that,
my nature docs, and you're a hater.
because I don't care about the
Nature
lizards. This is an omnibus.
Okay.
Big. This is Richard David Attenborough. I always
David
get them.
Attenborough.
David
And
Attenborough.
Richard
His
Linklater.
life as a nature person and what he's seen.
He's like
the
we're
first time he
fucking-
went
yeah.
to Myanmar. It wasn't Myanmar, but it was
Burma.
Yeah, Burma. It might not have been Burma, but it might have been Burma. Very different things. I know they're the exact, literally the same country. You don't understand.
I knew a girl from Burma.
But the way he went, when he went, how much forest there was versus how much there is now. Just percentage.
Wow.
Also the earth, what it was in 55, what it is now in terms of overall forest land. It used to be 63%. Now it's like low 40s, which sounds like, it's not good. That was great. Yeah, the life on the planet was great. It's on Netflix. And there was a doc that I watched on Amazon called Feels Good Man, which is based on the guy who drew Pepe the Frog.
Oh, and how he just got fucking.
Yeah. The comic that it was based on, Pepe the Frog was part of a comic book called, I think, Boys Club. And the title Feels Good Man was just from a strip, a panel of Boys Club where a guy's taking a leak, but he's got his pants all the way down and his butt's out. And someone goes, "Do you pee with your pants down?" He goes, "Feels good, man." Which is so funny. It's so funny to me. And so it's cool that the guy basically it became like a right wing thing. He sued Alex Jones, made $2 million, and then protesters, and I won't give it away, but it's fucking cool. Don't tell. It's a good documentary.
Okay.
So watch that.
There's one that I want to watch. I think it's out on Sunday. Have you heard about it? It's called Time. I tried to look for it. No, it's not on. It's on 18th, and it's about. It kind of just shows the impact of like incarceration on Black people, but it's over like 20 years, something.
Yeah, so it's basically 7-Up for Black people in prison.
Yeah.
These guys serving a 60-year prison sentence.
But anyways, that's coming out, and I heard that one was really good. So
I'm sure. Yeah, I heard it was great too. And then there's 2 Trump ones coming out. There's one about COVID that Alex Gibney directed that's been ongoing, apparently, like in secret. And then there's another one called maybe Under Control or something. I don't remember.
I want to see the one about somebody befriends an octopus. I started it, but I didn't finish it. Did you hear about that one?
Yes. Thank you for bringing that up. My octopus teacher couldn't stand the guy.
Why?
And
can we play the trailer?
I love the octopus.
Wait, play
the guy is unbearable.
Wait.
He's like if a guy from Nexium was a DJ.
Take off your clothes.
He sounds like Mark Ronson. That's how Mark Ronson talks.
No, really?
Exactly like Mark Ronson. Yeah, it's enough, Will. Thank you. How much do you want to show this? Well, you got Will's invested. We'll produce them. Doc. It was like it's like a guy from Nexium got a DJ career.
Had it is it about him a lot or is it about the octopus?
Of course, it's about him a lot.
Why?
And of course, and I stopped watching it because the guy made me crazy. And then someone DM'd me and said and confirmed exactly what I thought it was going to be. He became a better father as a result. And I was like, I see this because they shoehorn this fucking son in at the beginning. He's like, I lived by the ocean. Also, I have a son. And then just cut to him. It's like, I see where this is going.
Oh, that's.
It was why the thing I like about documentaries is I don't know what's going to happen. They were so ham-fisted about it that I figured it out. Well, let's do some.
Hit it.
LSTNER. LSTNER.
You got mail.
Oh, that's nice.
Hey, Neal and Banks. I've been trying to catch up on the show and just listened to the Spatula episode today, trying to address Neal's interrupting of Bianca. After watching last night's VP debate, I think the solution is clear. Banks simply hit Neal with a calm, cool, I'm speaking, Kamala style.
I'm speaking. Neal Brennan, I'm speaking.
Mr. Vice President?
Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking.
And then she tried to like double down. Like, lady.
You know what that is? That's like when... You ever hear people, they want to record their significant other in a fight. They don't want them to know.
That's funny.
And it's like...
she wanted to sound like,
I'm trying to go to bed. Stop it.
Why are you doing that? Don't turn your back on me. It's like a bad radio play. Why are you putting your socks on? Why are you doing a thing that people wouldn't be able to hear until I said it? It was the thing. I had a better line for them, which is... Mr. Trump, Mr. Pence, you've been speaking with your actions for 4 years. Now let someone else speak. Again, it's fucking. You did it. You did it. You tried to speak. We saw what you wanted to say, and it was bad.
But let's be honest, they're so like it's like open season for zings, getting them.
But they're not even good.
It doesn't have to be a joke. It just they aren't even going for it. They're like,
I know. Well,
Like,
that
go
would have
on.
been pithy and worthwhile.
Wait, if they said that for sure. But
I forwarded it to some people, but I don't think
You're like,
there's going to be
get
another
it to
debate.
Kamala.
I don't think there's going to be another debate.
No, I think we're done with the debates.
And I had another line. I can't. I have to marshmallow test it. That Mr. Trump thinks he built the economy when in truth, like most things in his life, he inherited it.
I think she said something similar.
Not that pithy. She didn't.
Well, and you said someone should say everything he touches, he destroys. But she said that.
Yeah, they've said that. That's not. There's a website called Midas Touch.
Goodbye.
That's like spelled wrong. Because you get it.
My toss.
You've got
Hiya,
mail.
Beal and Ninky. All right. LSTNER, thank you for all you do and say. I hope you can help me with this burning query. I have a beloved female friend that I'm super close to, talk weekly, travel together, all the things. However, she can sometimes be a real brat. It's always her way or the highway. Our friends and I are constantly compromising the gander just to avoid an argument. For example, constantly going to vegetarian restaurants so we'll have enough choices despite a gang of omnivores.
That one's the least.
What a bitch. Her behavior has grown so spoiled over the last couple of years that I decided to have a come to Jesus moment with her to address my ire. This was roughly in March of this year, but before I had my opportunity, 2020 hit the fan. I quickly turned into pretty much a full-time protester, and she and I found common ground in our passion for supporting the cause. I let it go as there are bigger pieces of shit to fry at the moment. Unfortunately, her narcissism seeped into this too. Into activism? You're kidding. She is constantly asking me to take her side against our white friends. She's of mixed race. Most of whom she's alienated because they've not shown enough outrage over race inequality on social media. She regularly refers to it as her movement. The last straw was when I invited her to do a BLM march I was really excited about, but she wanted to get drinks instead, then accused me of not supporting black women because I wanted to use my extremely limited personal time to support the cause instead of doing something, quote, fun with her. My question for you guys is this. Is Debrat weaponizing her selfishness with her blackness? As a white, it's not my place to make any assumptions about a POC's experience. However, it feels like the movement is being used as a tool manipulation here. On and on and on. Yes. Is it impossible to tackle this with her without inspiring racial hostility? It is impossible. You're not going to.
You're not going to win this.
She seems impossible. She seems like she's using it for her gain. Yeah. Which
she seems
that's
hysterical.
the trap.
Yeah.
That's the trap of all these things, is making it so that you're not making it about you. But the thing about human life is there's one camera angle and it's our point of view. Right. And we kind of see everything from I'm the star of every scene and you think you're the star of every scene and Will thinks he's the star of every scene. So, of course, we think that.
Yeah. I don't know. This person just seems like an asshole.
Yeah, but it's hard to deal with black assholes right now.
Black assholes are winning.
Yeah. No, well it's hard to deal with black assholes right now because you can't tell them they're an asshole.
That's what I'm saying. We're letting them be brats.
Yes.
In the name of, well, haven't we been a brat for hundreds of years? So that's fine. I think the problem is, though, she's using a lot of weird, like, I'm vegetarian, I'm in vegan place. So, although the thing is, when you have a letter like this, it feels extremely one-sided. I never believe like, I have a friend that
Bianca, this is a white woman who wrote this. You better believe this. Go ahead.
I have a friend that whenever he argues with his girlfriend, she's always I mean, it couldn't be more rigged against her in terms of like, and then
Yeah.
she said this,
Yeah.
and then this. So it's hard for me
Yeah,
to
but
be
even
like,
discounting this lady,
let's discount it a little bit.
like, it's still awful.
You know, also,
It's still not awful. It's just like,
just tell her. I mean, what can she tell her? I think don't make it about any of this. Just say, I just feel like I like to do a turnaround. I like to blame myself. Like, you know what? I just feel like you're displeased with me. I feel like I'm not being a supportive friend. You were upset I wasn't supporting Black women. We don't compromise enough. And I just, do you want to continue the friendship? I mean, I don't want to just be forever in the doghouse.
right.
I don't know. Just throw it on yourself. Because then what is she going to do? If you hit her, she's going to fucking come at you.
By the way, this is a metaphor for the entire wokeness movement where there's no right that's right enough.
What do you
You can't be woke enough for this woman. You can't be vegetarian enough.
There's something going on.
You can't be, she's just using it to her advantage.
You're already from jump. You're
going to lose. It's just a matter by how many.
Yeah.
And it's not
Goodbye.
fun.
No, enough fun.
You've got mail.
Hello, Neal. I've been a fan of yours since I saw you in The Daily Show. Lighten up, creep. To be honest, I really didn't know I didn't know much about you. Had no idea about your Love Chappelle show. Something. 3 mics, but yeah, great.
Well, that's nice.
Number one, when you get, this is bad about you. Sorry. There's two in a row that are tough on
Come
things
on.
to get your suit of armor on.
Right.
I have 2 upstairs.
Okay.
I've been no. Number one, when you get your Irish passport, Neal, come on over. There are loads of racists, xenophobia alive and well, being in the Republic versus the northern dickheads. We hate broadly and equally. 2, you may not like this, but the story from Bianca didn't post anyone in a good light. Ireland is as full of bitchy women as the rest of the world. Who feels great after spending 6 to 7 hours flying from the USA to Dublin? From the sounds of it, Bianca was just being was being as much of a G-bag.
What the fuck is that?
G-bag is, there's a asterisk and then it says G-bag is not a compliment, as the other passenger. To call her a racist is a shit move in Ireland or anywhere outside of the US or the UK. That's not warranted or acceptable. Just my opinion. Now, let me handle this bum for you.
Thank you.
Neal, when you get your Irish passport, come on over. There are loads of racists, xenophobia alive and well. So, and then he says, like, hey, don't call people racist. That's my job in 3 sentences ago.
And he also, there's obviously a rivalry with the Republic versus the North.
Of course.
And then he shits on them.
Right.
Northern dickheads.
Hey, Gavin. His name's Gavin, which is very Irish.
Gavin.
You're the G-bag.
I think you're a G-bag, Gavin.
There you go. And she
Right?
did. And
I
she did
think
the accent so you can understand it.
You don't have a heart of gold. You don't
Irish
have a heart
simpleton.
of gold. Gavin. Well, first of all, Gavin, have several seats because this wasn't like, I didn't want to say the story because I was like, this is not a great story.
I like the story.
The story was fine. I think it was funny. It's whatever. I can laugh about it. But the idea that says to call her a racist is a shit move in Ireland or anywhere else outside the US or UK.
He just said, come on over. There's loads of racists. He used it as a selling point. And then he's like,
That's
hey,
a shit move.
there's no
It's a shite
racists in
move.
Ireland.
That's shite. All it was, this was a lady being a dickhead. She wasn't being racist. And then I was like, hey, you want to serve? Okay, we can volley.
You were being the friend from the letter before. That's fine. You were using race for your own means. That's fine.
No.
It happens.
What happened was she volleyed her bitchiness, I volleyed it right back. And then we just kept it in the bitchy world. And then she wanted to make it very weirdly. We didn't speak for like 6 seconds or maybe 10 to walk. And then when we got to the saying goodbye flight attendants, that's when she's like, can you believe she did this in our country? You don't behave like this in our country. That's when it was like, well, maybe you're not being racist, but you're being some sort of something that's like, why do we need to talk about your country, my behavior in your country? She said she called me a bitch. You don't behave like this in our country. When that lady called me a bitch first, so it was like, if you want to be petty, like I too just came off of a 6-7 hour flight. So we can be really petty. I don't
that's
think
what he's saying. He was just saying like, hey, nobody was in a good mood.
But also, the thing is, if this was, the villains of the world are white women from the U.S. So let's just plug in a white woman from the U.S. and a nice Irish exchange student.
Hold on. Somebody wrote a letter about this.
Okay, shall we?
You've got
I have
mail.
a follow-up question. Would you agree that the middle-aged white woman is the most hated figure in our culture?
Yeah, it is.
And if you do, why do you think it is?
Oh, I just think it's right now. Because it's hot. Because we haven't really, like we said, we addressed it earlier,
Right.
white women have kind of gotten a bit of like a...
Soccer mom. They were
What?
soccer mommies. They were soccer mommies.
So sweet. And they've been actually protected and have given the benefit of the doubt of being nice, kind, not thieves, not anything that no one else has gotten. So I think now it's just, I don't know. It's just the pendulum.
They
is
outed
swinging.
themselves by voting for Trump.
I think it's hard.
In those numbers. It was 55%, but it's like, oh, you just told on yourself.
Okay. So the pendulum is going to swing and you're right. And now it's like,
Yeah.
don't go again.
You don't know what. Yeah.
So if it was a white woman from Florida, middle-aged white woman from Florida, saying to a Irish exchange student, you don't behave like that in my country, no one would be like, she was probably tired. We were going to be like, what a racist Karen.
Yeah.
So it's like,
And
shut
he
up.
said this guy blew his own cover by opening with like, we're racist here. Okay.
And then he's like, I don't really care who agrees or disagrees.
Guy's
Stay
a G-bag.
cool.
You're a G-bag and you'll always be a G-bag.
Goodbye.
Can't spell Gavin without G-bag.
You've got mail.
Hey, Neil and the love of my life, Bianca. I don't
hi.
like compliments, so I'm not going to compliment you guys.
Wow, rude.
Not you, Neil. Although I do want to say you should be getting... what I've been listening to, episode 3, and last week listening to my BB tell that story of that hateful lady on the plane made me understand why I love her so much. I often think to myself, how is someone that gorgeous and funny and well-traveled not married?
Ew.
So I just want to take a wild stab at Queen Bee's last relationships.
Okay.
They start off great, like wildly in love. That's where he's wrong. So it's going great, and every day he asks how your day was, and you're telling him all the stories of how people are rude to you, and he is always on your side
wrong.
at first, because Bet the Wop is great, and I would always be on your side to love. But one night you don't give him any wop, and he is thinking clearly, and he is like, BB, I love you, but I think you're wrong, and you fucking lost it. I gather this because I felt your wrath when you were telling that story about the hate-filled woman on the plane, the way you snapped when that lady, who was probably just trying to grab her bag,
So much
the way you
explaining.
snapped is only in a few special people. You're a special snapper. You got that special snapper. I would
Snapper
give up
for
my
days.
penis for a year to be dating you and walking behind you while you're berating some scared white lady with taunts of racist just so you could be like, yeah, man, I'm not going to stop her. That lady gets to go home tonight.
What?
I don't want that smoky. I don't know what he lost. He changed POVs. So if you can take me on a quick stroll down the last couple of relationships and what were the
Lord.
biggest fights, I would appreciate it, Queen Bee. I guess you can do it too, Neil.
Okay, first of all, I love how all these white people are explaining for this woman. I'm like, it was not cool.
I agree it wasn't cool.
I don't think it's the most egregious thing ever. I just felt like gloves are off. Let's just all be petty. You want to be petty? Then we can be petty. I don't think this is a story that, don't tell it at my eulogy. Like,
Too late.
No, Neil.
Too late.
This isn't like, watch me be cool and sock it to a white woman. I think we both looked ridiculous. She looked ridiculous at the beginning. I looked ridiculous at the end. But at one point you just...
I think once you've called her racist, chasing her down the hallway and calling her racist.
No, it wasn't
fine.
a chase. We were all walking.
It was it was the brisk walk to the.
No, I was going very
wasn't
slow.
it wasn't the passport.
No, I said it quietly. I was like, "You're racist." She was like, "Leave me alone." I'm like, "You're racist." Okay. It was like a Jerry Seinfeld, like, meh.
Yeah.
I never raised my voice. That doesn't matter. The point is, look, I'm sharing you guys a story where bad light. I share a bad light story. I'm not defending it. It was hilarious. And if you're going to other me and make me feel like you fucking foreigner, it's like, no. Not after you spread your butt cheeks on me. Second of all, this is so funny. This is nothing like my relationship. I date traditionally, I guess this maybe isn't cool or PC anymore, but I tend to date I tend to be more of the guy in the relationship,
Mm-hmm.
not strength or fucking, but
Frank Ocean. What do you mean?
No.
A guy.
no, like they tell me their problems, and I'm the straight man. I'm like, and don't get me wrong, I do complain when people are rude to me, and I'm sure they're like, okay, whatever. That kind of goes with the territory, but a lot of it is. I don't like putting myself on people or my problems onto people. So I'd rather, I'm not comfortable doing that. So I'd rather you tell me. I'd like to pivot questions about me, become questions about you.
Mm-hmm.
And people are very full of themselves and no shade, but just in general, who doesn't want someone to ask them a question? So it's a very easy thing to avoid.
A lot of times you don't tell them your last name for a while, right? 5 or 6 dates.
Last name, age. It takes me takes me a while to fuck. I don't need, no, we'll meet there. I just have a weird, I don't know. I think, and it goes down to just how I was when I was a kid, but I just don't like putting any of my burdens on people. Doesn't mean I don't do it. I just don't want to actively do it.
And I don't think you like people knowing shit about you.
Yeah, my friend always says, you're Beyonce private. I'm like, no, I'm not. She's like, no, you're Beyonce private. It's all a weird.
What is Beyonce private? What is that a reference to?
Like you don't know I'm doing something, and you don't know Beyonce's doing
Beyonce's
until there's a
level of private.
Until there's a billboard.
The album coming out.
It's like, oh, that's what's going on. No, I just was really shy growing up, extremely shy. My parents thought I was autistic, so I think
still your friend still does.
So then, I think it just. Anyways, that's what it is.
All right.
I'm pretty
he was
cool.
wrong.
Also, I want you to give up your penis for a year. Just because.
I gotta go.
Goodbye.
But let's there's a couple. This is a good one. This is a good one.
You've got mail.
LSTNER, Neal and Binks. LSTNER.
That's nice.
Look, marriage has its problems, but Neal, I need you to be fair and admit that most of your married friends are famous married guys and not normal people.
True.
Famous married guys, even ugly ones, have women throwing themselves at them all the time. So when they get home and they want their wives, they want their wives to not only fuck them, but make them feel like they aren't missing out on anything.
It's so loud.
Will through it's so loud. It's crazy. I remember when he first barked, I was like, I don't know what to do about that.
Because he's such a quiet dog.
I know.
And then
Sneaks
it just
up on
comes
you
out of nowhere.
Till it's too late. So when they get home, they want their wives to not only fuck them, but make them feel like they aren't missing out on anything. Good point. That's impossible. They are 100% missing out on things. There is no vagina on the planet that could take away that FOMO and the desire for other vaginas, especially easily attainable vaginas that are waiting for them after the show or sliding into their DMs. Neal, can you admit that your assessment of men and marriage is unfairly biased by the fact that most of the men you know have more options than the average guy? Binks, thank you for defending the ladies. Grab that spatula and tell it like it is. She would grab that spatula, guys, but she was so openly hateful toward it that I threw it in the trash. I didn't throw it. It's just in a cabinet.
I have carpal tunnel.
Oh my
and
God.
you know it.
And
I suggested a koosh ball.
We'll get you something.
Okay.
We'll get you a Manscaped razor. You'll see. Will christened it.
Ew.
So.
Okay, Neal.
Here. That is true. But I want this guy to admit that 90% of the people you know should not be married. And the sex thing has nothing to do with options. The options makes it worse, but I don't think that my famous friends who have dog walkers, it's a tear that you can never understand. That my famous friends, if their wives, you can't shoot an empty gun. So if their wives emptied the chamber before they left the house, you got no problems. You're into sex addict land, which is a whole other thing. And I only know a few sex addicts, and they would be cheating on anyone.
Yeah. Well, I don't get it then.
He wants me to admit that the difference between regular guys and famous guys is the amount of sex they have access to, which is true. I've turned down 4 pieces of sex since the beginning of this podcast. I'm not kidding. I'm kidding. Pieces of sex piece. And so I just think it's a bad institution, and it should be put in the dustbin of history with totalitarianism and fascism and Mormonism.
Well, yeah, even like that other guy said, "Why? How are you not married?" Ugh, what year is this?
Yeah, that's the sign of a valuable woman.
You're not
she is
married?
married.
What's wrong with her? Let me take a crack.
On bended knee for you. Yeah,
No,
it's embarrassing.
It's weird. But
So I don't think you're right in that, but these guys are not sleeping with their wives and then sleeping with somebody else. What happens is their wives stop sleeping with them because that's what happens in every marriage.
Well, what if they take them for granted and their wife is nice and wants it? I know plenty of dudes that, no, I don't know plenty. I know some situations where the girl really wants to fuck and the guy's like, okay, see you later. Lights off. Don Draper.
Because there is an element of when you don't have sex enough and you're relying on one person to give it to you, you get so dismayed that by the time they're like, I want it now too, you're like, fuck out of here. Like, I got now you want, I want it all the time. So now I have to make a big fucking giant scissors opening. Giant scissors on a giant ribbon. Because you oh, thank God. The fucking, she's here, everyone.
Well,
I know that's why men and women should not get married, because we have entirely different ethoses when it comes to sex.
Me and you are on the same page. Even though here's the thing, and I always say this, I don't want marriage. I would love a wedding.
And I love a dress.
I know, pantsuit. But it just feels very archaic for the woman. I mean, it's essentially you're a product being sold. That's like the origins of marriage. And now the cherry on top is that we get to choose a dress.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Well, I thought of a joke that I haven't done yet, which is when I was playing tennis, I saw a woman in one of those tennis outfits.
Oh, yeah.
And I just had the thought, a lot of women's lives are about unlocking outfits. So like, yeah, I'll go sailing. And then you picture yourself in a little sailing outfit and you're trying to get to like wedding dress unlocked. Like that's the key. Yes. Like that's the top level is wedding dress unlocked. And men are trying to get you out of clothes. That's good.
That's good.
That's a good comedy bit.
Comedy. He's a rocket scientist.
Yes, you could not do that.
No.
Hello, listener. You're going, I could do. You could not have done it because I've been doing 25 years, and I just came up with it on Saturday.
He knows about art.
Now,
and narrative.
So that is correct. So it's silly. And it is archaic, and I also have a joke that I haven't done yet, which is, you know what marriages are? They're not a license to be wedded. They're a license to fuck in the eyes of God.
Yeah.
They're a license. They're a fucking license from God.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you can now fuck. That's all that changes.
Imagine if you had to marry the first person you fucked.
Yeah, that's
kind of like how
maybe
it was
your
back
parents. That's definitely my parents.
Yeah. Yeah.
Until you start. Whatever.
But then you think about the first person you fucked, and it's like, God damn.
Yeah.
Fuck no.
Yeah.
No.
No.
Fuck no. It's gross. Okay. So what? Okay. Can we just play a game? If you had to design marriage, redesign it. You had to be you and a one person. But design it. What would be a 2.0?
It would be
we have a bond, we love each other. It wouldn't be a
Supreme Court appointment. It wouldn't be for life. It should be 2 years tops, and then you renew or don't. But like, fucking forever. I don't.
Dude,
I'm different than I was last podcast, yo.
Damn, he's so interesting.
Bianca. I listened to it. I don't even know that dude. I don't even know that dude.
Don't even say
other than the fact
like
when he's yelling about PC culture. That guy I know.
It would basically be a reality show. Like, do you agree to stay married?
Yes, but I don't think you make it. It
There'd be more marriages if it was a 5-year. It's like tattoos. If tattoo disappeared in 5 years,
yeah,
you'd have a face tattoo.
Bitch, I'd marry you for 5 years. Fuck it.
Like it would be really fun.
Rock had a funny joke, which is woman has to consider. Halle Berry has to consider every marriage proposal. And she's not fucking anybody. But like, if you go, I'll marry you, she'd be like, huh.
Yeah, it's like, is this my choose your own adventure book? Am I going down this chapter?
Yeah, it's like it's like if he's rich, yeah, how bad could it be? How bad could it be?
Oh, it can't be.
And if
that
it were
bad.
5 years, it'd be like a lot of shit. It would be 5 years, and it would also just be like a settlement.
Yeah. You walk away. Boom.
Larry David said a joke one time, which is fame is wasted on the married man.
Yeah,
which is fucking the best.
So good.
All right, it's I don't have to take this shit o'clock, and I don't have to take this
Let's
shit.
Go.
So.
Bye.
Goodbye.